Perception.
Listen, bro, your perception is your reality. I want you to imagine that there's this man who desperately wants to lose weight, but in his mind he tells himself, I'll never lose the weight. He'll start exercising for a few days, but eventually he quits because he says, there's no point to this, I'll never lose the weight. He'll go on a diet for a few days, but eventually he quits because he tells himself, why am I doing this? I will never lose the weight. A few weeks down the line, that man hops on the scale and he realizes that he's actually gained weight. And you want to know what that man tells himself? He says, I knew it. I knew I couldn't lose that weight. The reason that happened is because that man's perception of himself became his reality. But that also works the other way around. If you truly believe that you can accomplish your dreams, if you truly understand that you are capable of doing anything you put your mind to, that perception of yourself will become your reality.
Yep, they say the eyes are the window to the soul. And through your eyes, you see the world. But through your mind, you perceive the world. So, in the world of Naruto, the Sharingan isn't just a powerful tool, but it's a mirror. A mirror that casts illusions. A mirror that reflects our fears, our desires, and our deepest thought. So, in our world, there are various mediums that cast a Sharingan over us, feeding us dreams and illusion. Sometimes to empower us, other times to control you and I. But what does this have to do with mental health? Well, follow me as we explore the hidden link between the Sharingan, society, and how it all affects your mind. But first, remember this statement. Perception creates projection, meaning what you perceive is what you project out in the world.
So what we need to do, we need to begin to dissipate that energy. And the only way we can begin to dissipate that energy is through an alteration in your perception, because your perception is always going to equal to your projection. Until you change the way you look at life, life won't change the way it looks at you.
But before we move forward, let us take a moment to understand the origins and the mechanics of the Sharingan. The Sharingan is a powerful eye technique possessed by members of the Uchiha clan, one of the most prominent clans in all of Naruto's universe. It grants the users heightened perception, the ability to copy techniques, and even cast powerful illusions known as genjutsu. The Sharingan evolves in stages from 1 tomi to 3, and eventually to its evolved form, which unlocks devastating abilities like Tsukiyomi, and technique that casts an illusion that is so real that it can cause psychological damage. When Itachi used this technique on Kakashi Sensei, placing him in a void world where he was stabbed hundreds of times for what felt like an eternity, but was mere minutes. Notable users of the Sharingan includes Itachi Uchiha, known for his mastery of illusion, Sasuke Uchiha, Itachi's little brother, driven by revenge and redemption, and Madara Uchiha, one of the most powerful and feared shinobi in history. The Sharingan isn't just a power, but it's a reflection of one's mental and emotional state. Its strength is tied directly to trauma, loss, and perception. For perception is projection. A deeper understanding of this statement first requires us to visit the first Hermetic principle that states all is mind. Our experiences, our identities, all begin in thought. What you believe becomes what you see, and what you see becomes your reality. This is why perception is one of the most powerful forces in shaping identity, emotion, and action. Before you go about completing an action, first see it within your mind's eye before attempting to act on it. You must first create the feeling that you have already achieved said thing or accomplished said goal. But also beware that mental manipulation isn't always external. It often starts inside our own minds due to outside factors such as propaganda and influences. Take, for example, if you're dealing with a mental illness, the first thing we learn as certified peer specialists is not to define ourselves as our mental health diagnosis. So, if you see yourself as broken, weak, a victim of mental illness, you will act like it, live it, and feel it. But what if you changed the way you saw yourself? What if your inner narrative said, I am not broken, but I am becoming? Sometimes we wear our diagnosis like a name tag. The more you identify with your mental illness as your whole self, the more you risk losing the truth. You are not defined by what you're battling. You're defined by how you rise above it. And the Sharingan shows us that perception alters reality, and reality begins with how you choose to see yourself. So, we also see how mass media, politics, and stereotyping all cast illusions like genjutsus. They change how we view each other, how we treat each other, and how we treat ourselves. Some groups have been painted out as thugs, lazy, and dangerous. That illusion becomes perception. Perception becomes projection, and projection becomes policy. These illusions are designed to divide, to manipulate, and to suppress empathy. When you see the same image repeated over and over, your brain begins to accept it as truth, even when it's not. This is why we must look beyond the illusion to break the genjutsu and reclaim our own truth. Wars have used this tactic. For example, the Vietnam War, in order to gain public support, propaganda, such as describing Vietnamese people as evil, will be spreaded through cartoons, newspapers, radios, and people in order to reduce empathy towards that specific group. We see the same tactic applied now when it comes to African Americans being betrayed as racial stereotypes that feeds acts of police brutality towards people of African descent. Illusion is powerful, but awareness is stronger. The moment you question what you see, you begin to take back control. So, here's something interesting.
Aliens, non-human intelligences, are real, and they have been engaging with humanity.
Ross, we're not alone. We are not alone in this universe, and it is a simple fact. And the US government has been aware of that fact now for decades.
So a theory is that these advanced beings don't shapeshift physically, but they manipulate how you perceive them. Instead of transforming, they implant a visual idea directly into your mind. You don't see what they are, you see what they want you to see. This technique is called
mimicry. When we are on the surface and we meet human beings, even a large group of them, this makes no difference. All of your minds are like one mind. We are able to touch their mind and induce them via telepathy. The command, see us as one of your kind. And the weak human mind will accept this order without refusion, and they will see us, despite our reptilian look, as normal humans. I've done this many times, and you weak humans generally see me as an attractive brown-haired woman because I have created this special mimicry image in my mind years ago, and I can induce it into your minds without problems. Your mind is all one mind is very interesting. That's something that I think we're just starting to scratch the surface on with this whole idea. Well, it's a philosophy that has been echoed for a very long time. If you look at Hermeticism or Rosicrucianism, the sort of as above, so below. This idea that everything is one and everything is connected is very old, but now with quantum physics, I think we're realizing that this might actually be the case, that this field exists and that we're all sort of a part of it.
It's been portrayed in films where aliens appear human to avoid suspicion or fear. In a way, this is exactly what our brains do when influenced by trauma, social programming, or media. You begin to see the world not as it is, but as someone else has trained you to see it. And this has affected you and I in more ways than one. And this proves and makes the Sharingan more than just an anime power. It becomes a metaphor for defending your mind from false realities. This concept invites us to question what parts of our perception have been shaped by others, just like those alien projections, mimicry. We might be living inside someone else's narrative. Perception is projection. When we take a look into the art of hypnosis,
this is really interesting because when you know, I've studied hypnosis for entertainment purposes as a magician quite a bit. And these are things that you can actually induce through hypnosis. Hypnotic states allow you to really play with the senses of the mind. And that includes smell, it includes touch, it includes sight, it includes taste, it includes everything. There's studies of people who were fed invisible food. And not only were they pretending or thinking that they were really eating, they were actually having bowel movements. So physiologically, you're even able to affect the human body with suggestion.
we see how deeply the mind can be influenced. Mental health mirrors this. Sometimes we're hypnotized by our past, stuck in a story someone else told about ourselves. But to break free, you and I have to awaken and choose to see what's real and what has been projected into us. Like a Gengetsu, remember this statement: perception creates projection.